All right, y'all. Good morning. We're back with Coffee and Chat. Glad to be back, y'all. Glad to be back. It's been something we've been in the process of doing for a minute, bringing it back. And I appreciate y'all. How appropriate to bring it back for Black History Month, but definitely pushing on an agenda today that folks tend to not talk about much. Folks tend to steer away from, and I'm just going to say this one deals with why Black children suffer. Why Black children suffer. Why Black children suffer. Why Black children suffer more than others. Why Black children suffer at all. And a lot of this has to deal with the socioeconomic conditions that we have existing in the U.S. Not that we shouldn't have free enterprise and we shouldn't have an open marketplace, but what we should have is enough to go around and deal with what's going on right before our eyes, what's happening right before our eyes. If we can't see some differences and some disparities that are happening within different parts of the system and realize that different parts of the system itself are broken, then we're in trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We're in trouble not just for Black folks, but for other folks, brown folks as well. I say this to put this in a context for people to really gather what's happening here and follow along with me. Listen. There's some things happening within society that we don't realize. Black children are twice as likely to suffer from the effects, the impacts, the direct impacts of poverty and the wealth gap in the U.S. society today. Twice as likely, right? Black infants are more likely to die than white infants, right? Black children are nearly twice as likely to have asthma. Black children are more likely to have difficulty receiving essential specialty health care, right? And are less likely to have private health insurance. Black babies and children are more than twice as likely to die as white children. Black youth, twice as likely to commit suicide. Black children are 4 times more likely to be removed from their homes and placed in foster care. Black households are roughly twice as likely to experience food insecurity. I haven't dealt with special ed. I haven't dealt with incarceration and interaction with the police. I'm just talking about a few things that Black children are experiencing more likely than their ethnic counterparts. And what I'm finding out as well is if it's happening to Black children, it's most likely happening or on its way to happening to brown and yellow children, right? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. This is how it's going down. And so look at this. These are health issues. These are health issues. And why is this okay? How is this okay? How do these numbers not rattle you? How do these numbers not shake you up and upset you? Hopefully it does something within you and you're seeing it and saying, man, I don't know why it's like this. Look at this. We can look at this and see, boom, hunger, is a visible problem tied to poverty. Hunger is a visible problem tied to poverty. Let's just take hunger. Racial and ethnic disparities and equities related to food insufficiency are typically tied to public policy measures and socioeconomic conditions linked to, guess what? Poverty. Hunger is a racial equality issue. Hunger is a public health issue, right? Numerous avenues you can take and slice this up and jump in here. Approximately 1 in 4 Black children in the U.S. may not have reliable access to food, often going to bed hungry. That makes no sense when we counter that with the numbers that are for food waste in the U.S. I'm just talking here. When we counter this with the numbers for food waste in the U.S., right? Somebody talk back to me over here. We got more food waste than we can handle. That's taking up more land than we can handle, and we've got a quarter of one ethnic group going to sleep hungry night by night. Something's broken. Something's out of balance. We can fix it without having to create new things. We can fix it without having to establish, new food sources. We need to figure out other distribution sources, right? Understand this. It's not all going to be corrected if you catch them at school, because guess what? I didn't put the stats on here, but school absenteeism is related to, guess what? Poverty. Food insecurity. Can't make it to school today because I'm hungry. Mama got to go try and figure something out for the baby before she feeds the rest of us. And we ain't walking to school today. That's what happens. Hello? That's what happens. That's what happens when we're dealing with an issue that is not simply statistically segmented to, oh, well, that's just Black women. No, Black women with children are also denoted as Black families and part of the Black community. And so when we start talking about numbers, these are women, children, come on, others, right, who are impacted by this poverty situation, by this wealth gap. Other people are impacted by it. And when we start dealing with this and start looking at this correctly, we can look at how to address this and other issues that are affecting Black children directly. And I say this in all honesty. I hope someone's picking up on this, because it's painful. Painful to look at, painful to see, painful to understand that this is happening in our communities. Let's look at it like this. Not only is hunger evidence of the problem, right, but we've got ways we've got to look at this and how to solve this problem, right? I'll put a few things up here that might help us out, might give us some insight. I put Cal Matters up here. Why did I put Cal Matters up here? I put Cal Matters up here because guess what? Cal Matters is one of the few public new voices, kind of like Sacramento Bee and a few others, that speak directly to giving an honest and clear opinion of the news and how to handle it. That's what we got in California. At least we have that going for us in California for when we are dealing with some matters that are pressing and need an honest opinion of it. There's some other stuff I'm throwing up in here that y'all can see and get a hold of and get with it. But we need things happening within our communities in order to address some of this. This is not going to go away because, oh, well, okay, now I'm aware of it. No, you've got to push it. You've got to hold the public folks accountable. You got to hold the politicians accountable. You've got to hold the other, quote unquote, leaders accountable, right? Do you know that there's an Office of Minority Health and all this is still going on among Black children? There's an Office of Minority Health. And we're still having this problem. There's a National Minority Health Month coming up in April. And we still have this problem. Come on, y'all. This is ridiculous. And I'm just talking about food right now. Something I know, something I understand, something I've dealt with through ministry. I'm just talking about food right now. I'm not talking about incarceration. I'm not talking about education. I'm not talking about reentry. I'm not talking about any of these other things that we're dealing with, or technically that we haven't dealt with, that are still sitting here on the spectrum as our issues. Who is sounding the trumpet on this stuff needing to be addressed? Who's holding the politicians' feet to the fire on needing to address these issues? How are we dealing with this? How are we rocking with this? How are we rocking with this day by day and saying it's okay? Because if they're hungry, you might not see it, but you may know it. But if they're impoverished, you can see part of it, how they're dressed, how they smell, how they're living, where they're living, right? And understand what they're going through. Let me drop some more of this stuff in here so y'all can understand this. The Black youth, the mortality rate for Black youth has, guess what? Increased. Can we talk about that? It has increased. Have we realized this? Have we come to a place where we recognize that this is what's happening in Black youth, right, are experiencing this? Black youth are experiencing an increased mortality rate by 36%. While during the same period of time, white youth mortality has risen only 4.7%. This includes incidents that are preventable, injuries, homicides, and suicides. This is during the age of fentanyl, y'all. Come on. And we've got 36% increase. This is the age of fentanyl, right? Listen to this. Black children. I said I wasn't going to deal with education yet, but here we are. I'm going to slap it on you. Black children are up to what? 14 times. I'm not saying 1, 2, or 3, up to 14 times. Black children are up to 14 times more likely to reside in high poverty neighborhoods, which often lack high quality schools and health facilities. Can we figure that out? You can't we can't live off the emergency room. That hasn't been working for us. They're dumping us and dealing with us and still charging Medicare and everybody else, Medi-Cal and I'm talking about it, yeah. We got to look at this differently in our approach to closing this out. Come on, y'all. We've got to look at this differently. Because if we don't, something's wrong with us. If we don't, something's happening with us. Listen to me. Black children, 2024 stats, black children, approximately 25.4% of black children live below the official poverty level. Holy. 1 out of 4. You gonna tell me those the same 1 out of 4 that are going to bed hungry? 1 out of 4. You gonna tell me that's the same 1 out of 4 that are likely to die? Come on. There's only so much that we can just sit around and talk about. What are we going to do about it? Join me February 28th. It's a Saturday. We're going back to our normal time. Saturday, February 28th, so Saturday, 9 a.m. in the morning for us folks on the West Coast. And let's talk about how we used to do it. And how we didn't have foster care before. Didn't have a welfare system up in our homes and up in our business. We didn't have that. For those of us who come from an agrarian society, part of the South, we were church-centered, community-centered folks who took care of, quote unquote, our own communities, forced to via segregation. Am I lying? Black History Month. Let's talk about it. But let's get into detail about how some of these prior systems worked before integration, before the church let go of things, before the community let go of things, and said, go to the government. Let's get off that boat. Because guess what? If I'm looking at the numbers and I'm looking at how the numbers play out statistically, and what I've read and shared, black children don't seem to matter as much as we think. Black children and brown children don't seem to matter and are not as valued as they should be within this socioeconomic system. And the only way that that's going to change is for us to change our stance and position on just hearing about it and not doing anything about it. Right? It's like when you watch the news, somebody gets in an accident. Oh, that was sad. Well, was it sad enough for you to get up and do something about it? Was it upsetting enough for you to get up and do something about it? How urgent did it become when you said, ooh, hate to hear about that? Listen, if we're going to fix it, come on, jump in here with me. Jump in here with me on the 28th. We're going to talk about it. My bad. We'll also be doing it on the 21st as well. And so I want to know, 21st, 28th, jump in here. Let's talk about it. Let's make it happen, right? Let's not let this be simply, I heard it, it upset me, and now I'm going to go back to my regular business. Don't be that person. Don't be that out of touch person of color. Don't be that. Don't be that person that says, well, I got mine. Hope them folks get theirs together. I'm praying for them. Don't be that. I'll say it right now. Don't be that. Lord, help me today. Let's get this together. Let's help save, literally save some of our children by changing some of these statistics. There are some models out here that we've had in the past that have worked. And there's some models out here that we've yet to broadly instill that can still work and help us fix this issue. God be with us. We need it right now, right? And I don't think that's the problem. No, we're not going to blame white folks. They ain't blame white folks yet. So I don't think you can say that. I appreciate you jumping in, but it's not about blaming white people. What are we going to do as a Black community? What are we going to do as Black leaders? What are we going to do as Black educators? What are we going to do? Instead of stand by and collect our check, what are we going to do to fix it, right? And if we're going to do something, right, let's do it consciously. I hear you. I know the numbers. We do overrepresent the prison population. And that doesn't change anything about still there being a need for people to be contributing members of society who aren't part of that population. So I appreciate you jumping in here, man. Right? I appreciate you sharing that. Don't hate you for being white. Can't hate you for being white. That's the lot and fate that you have in life. But I'm not mad at you. I'm just sharing what I believe for part of Black History Month that we need to do instead of just say, hey, Martin Luther King did some great things. Hey, Sojourner Truth did some great things. There's some things that are happening that we can do as a Black community that will be great to change without having to beat the government up, without having to beat Trump up. Don't blame Trump for that. Don't blame him for that. This is something that we know and see as I show these stats. So I appreciate this. And come on, man. Let's talk about it. Let's keep chatting. See you on the 21st. See you again on the 28th. This is Coffee and Chat. We're jumping in for Black History Month. Jumping back in. God bless you. Appreciate the comments. Definitely, let's keep this going on. Man, it's not a blame game. It's what's happening. Appreciate you. God bless.